Assalamu alaikum, all my dear students, and welcome for second secondary lesson. And today, from your book, The Traveler 3, okay? And here you can see that we have a roundup, so it is just a wrap-up of all the things that you have studied in your book. So let's get started first with what we'll learn today. Mainly, you have two very important objectives. Number one, use the past simple and the past progressive appropriately. Two, form nouns and adjectives by using appropriate suffixes. So at the beginning, for number one, we have two important tenses in English: the simple past or past simple and the past progressive. The simple past is that we change the verb into ed or irregular form, like I work every day, I worked yesterday. I see a movie every Sunday, I saw a movie last Sunday. This is a simple past, and we use it in a period of time when it's all over, like I went to France. So you went to France and it's gone, so the verb is over or the action is done. The past progressive, most of the time we use was or were with the verb ing. I was watching, they were eating, she was cooking, they were singing. So these are examples of the past progressive. We'll see more for these details in the following example. So the past actually versus the present. So we always speak about the past, about things that happened. So we use the simple past, things that happened and they're done, they're over. So this is the simple past. If you can just give me an example of this. I went to Mecca last year. I ate some rice a week ago. We saw a movie last night. These are all examples of a simple past. And the past progressive, most of the time it interrupts the simple past. And the form of it is that we use was aware, verb ing. So I was, he was, she was, it was, verb ing. I was cooking, he was cooking, she was cooking. It does not cook anyway. And also for where we say they were cooking, you were cooking, we were cooking. So for the simple past, just you turn the verb into ed or a regular verb, work, worked, or see, saw. And for the past progressive, we use was or were, verb ing. So I was watching, they were watching. Now most of the time when we use the simple past, sometimes at the beginning of a sentence, the simple past is interrupted by the past continuous or past progressive. So I traveled by the bus this morning. This is simple past. Traveled with ed. This is a regular verb, so this is simple past. So you traveled and it's over, and that was maybe this morning, a week ago, last year, whatever. And the past continuous or the past progressive comes here at this moment of time. When you traveled, something else happened. What did you do? You were waiting, or I was waiting at the bus stop. So the past progressive interrupts, it comes in the middle, the simple past. So this is how we use them together in one sentence. And most of the time, before the past progressive or the past continuous, there is as soon as. You search for this word, when, while. After when, while, and as soon as, there's most of the time there is past continuous or past progressive. Okay, so you just pay attention. This is how we recognize the difference between the simple past and the past progressive. And most of the time, the simple past starts first, and then the past progressive interrupts the simple past at a certain moment of time in the past. Let's see more examples in here. Do some practice about complete the text here. So we have from 1 to 6. Complete the text here with either the simple past or past simple and the past progressive, or we call it past continuous, of the verbs in brackets. So here we have the verb play, start, work, go, and break. So what do we see here? What we're going to write here? On the morning of the 15th October 2007, 9 children were playing or played at their local nursery school when suddenly tornado sirens started or was starting or started going. Let's see the number 1. On the morning of 15th October 2007, 9 children played? No. Something happened. They were playing at the local nursery school when, see, this when belongs to here. Suddenly, tornado sirens is a sound when you have a tornado. Started, okay? Started going off. Tom Stanley, who was the head teacher of the school, was working or worked in his office at that time. Was working in his office at that time. He didn't panic as tornado warnings were common at that time of a year. Then the lights went out and the wind broke his office window. So here are the examples of how we used the past simple or the past continuous. So on the morning of 15th October 2007, 9 children, what were they doing? They were playing at their local nursery school when suddenly tornado sirens started going off. Tom Stanley, who was the head teacher of the school, what was he doing when something else happened? He was working in his office at that time. He didn't panic as tornado warnings were common at that time of the year. Then the lights went out and the wind broke his office window. Now let's get more exercise about this. Now let's choose the word that most appropriately completes each sentence. Now this is about a little bit of grammar and meaning. So what do we say? The participants, we have A, B, C, or D. So what do we say? The cheered participants, the viewers, the spectators, or the watchers cheered when the boxers entered the ring. Who cheered when the boxers entered the ring? Who cheered? Who was happy? The participants, the viewers, or the spectators, or the watchers? You have to guess the meaning here. You have to choose A or B or C. So the spectators cheered when the boxers entered the ring. You have to check the meaning of this word. Spectators is almost like watchers. So here we choose the word spectators. So for number 2, as we approached, we have to put it here, as we approached, or as we arrived, or as we headed, or as we moved, okay, to the waterfall, we could hear it, or we could hear a loud voice. So as we approached, so A for number 2, as we approached the waterfall, we could hear a loud noise. Number 3, Salman is what? Is patient, or is the most patient person, or Salman is the most courageous person, or Salman is the most honest person, or Salman is the most or the wealthiest. It's also here about grammar. The most patient, the most courageous, okay, and the wealthier. So let's see. Let's complete the sentence. Salman is the most either patient, courageous, honest, or wealthy person I have ever met. He would never tell a lie. So he doesn't lie. So he's what? He's the most honest person, okay? So he's the most honest person I have ever met. Why? Because he would never tell a lie. 4. Ruba has great for her watching job. So she has what? Great enthusiasm, bravery, strength, or intelligence. Ruba has great for her teaching job, and that's why her results did so well in the exam. So she's what? She has great enthusiasm. So she's so excited. So she has great enthusiasm for her teaching job, and that's why her students did so well in the exam. 5. Rania has strong determination, has a strong desire, has a strong hope, or has strong feeling to visit Jeddah because her parents were born there. So she's what? She has a strong desire, so B for number 5. And 6, I am as hungry as a what? I'm as hungry as a bee. I'm as hungry as a mouse. I'm as hungry as a wolf. Or I'm as hungry as a bird. What you've made for me, or what you made for dinner. Of course, we say I am as hungry as a wolf. So it means you're very, very hungry. You're starving. So let's choose, or let's see the answers. As we just said, that spectators cheered. Okay, so C for number 1, the spectator cheered when the boxers entered the ring. Number 2, as we approached, as we got close to the waterfall, we could hear a loud noise. So A for 2. 3, Salman is the most honest person. So C for 3. I have ever met. He would never tell a lie. 4, Ruba has great enthusiasm. So there's a missing adjective, which is enthusiasm, okay, or a noun. Ruba has great enthusiasm for her teaching job, and that's why her students did so well in the exam. So A for 4. And for 5, Rania has a strong desire, to visit Jeddah because her parents were born there. So B for 5. And finally, for 6, I am as hungry as a wolf. So C for 6. I am as hungry as a wolf. What have you made for dinner? More exercise to choose about now. Mix between the simple past or the past continuous, or past simple and past progressive. So choose the word or phrase of words that produce this grammatically correct sentence. So we need a correct grammatically sentence. So last year I A B C D. I was to France. I was going to work in a summer camp for kids. I have gone, or I went. Last summer, last year, last week, last month, 2 years ago. We choose the simple past. So last year I went to France. So we put went after the subject because it's a verb. Last year I went to France to work in a summer camp for kids. So D for number 1. Number 2, Huda promises me, was promising me, promised me, was promised. So Huda me that she would clear her room, but she still hasn't done it. So she promised. Also, we pick the simple past here because nothing interrupted. So Huda promised me. So C for 2. Huda promised me what? That she would clear her room, but she didn't do anything. 3, I watched the news. I was watching the news. I was watched the news, or I watched the news. Nothing else interrupted your watching the news. So we say I watched, so D for number 3, I watched the news on TV last night, last week, last year. Always go with a simple past. 4, while. Remember I told you when you see while, when you see when you see as soon as, most of the time it's about past progressive or past continuous. And you already have simple past in a sentence. So while I was walking, while I was walked, while I am walking, or while I walking. Of course, D and C are a little bit. So while I was walking up the mountain path, I saw a bear. Okay, so something else interrupted the simple past, and we choose A for 4, so the past progressive or the past continuous. Finally, for 5, Bassam, what? Read a story, has read a story, was reading, or is reading a story when. You see, there's always when. When you see while and when, most of the time we got an interrupted past continuous or past progressive. That's right. So Bassam was reading a story, what? When he heard a strange noise coming from the basement. So C for 5. Let's check the answers also here. So number 1, last year I went to France. 2, Huda promised me. 3, I watched the news on TV. 4, while I was walking. And 5, Bassam was reading a story when he heard a strange noise coming from the basement. More about now how we change from noun to verb, verb into adjective, adjective into adverb. So we have to see these words in the capital letters. They are possess. This is a verb. It means to own. Selfish. It's an adjective. Someone who thinks about himself only. Conscience is an adjective. Someone who's aware of what's around him. Courage is a noun, and it means bravery. And intelligence is a noun, and it means someone who's very smart. Now, we put these 5 words into these spaces, and we have to change them by either adding the suffix at the beginning or a prefix at the beginning, suffixes or prefixes to the word. Or we either change them into antonyms or opposites, or we change from verb to noun, or from noun to adjective, or adjective to noun. We'll see. I'll try to do number 1 for you. So complete the sentences with the correct form of the words in the capitals here. So number 1, Osama lost his home and all of his possession. Possess, we cannot say all of his possess because this is a verb. We need a noun. So what is the noun from the verb possess? Osama lost his home and all of his things, okay, in the hurricane. But we have the word possess. Possess is a verb, so we can't put it here. We need to change it into a noun. So the noun from possess is possessions. So the sentence is now correct when we say Osama lost his home and all of his possessions in the hurricane. It means he lost everything. 2, now you try to do this as a person. Naeem is selfish. Let's complete the sentence and see the meaning. He thinks of others more than himself. He can't be selfish. If you think about people more than yourself, you're not selfish. Okay? So this is the opposite. So what is the opposite of the word selfish? If you think about yourself more than others, you're selfish. But here, Naeem is unselfish. Unselfish. This is the word we put here. So as a person, Naeem is unselfish. Why? Because he thinks of others more than himself. 3, when the ambulance arrived, the motorcyclist was conscious, but he's still alive. So they called the ambulance and the motorcyclist had a problem or had an accident, and we was conscious? No, he was the opposite. He was unconscious, it means he's like sleeping, but he's still alive. So it's better to say here he was not conscious, and the opposite of conscious is unconscious. So when the ambulance arrived, the motorcyclist was unconscious. We cannot write it conscious, but still alive. 4. The courage young man or the courage young man saved a boy from drowning in a lake. The courage man, the courage is a noun, so we need an adjective to describe the man. The adjective from courage is courageous. So the courageous young man, what? He saved the boy from drowning in a lake. So we change courage, which is a noun here, into an adjective, so it becomes the courageous young man saved the boy from drowning in a lake. And finally, Arij is very intelligent. Intelligence is a noun. We need an adjective. So Arij is very intelligent, and this is the noun from intelligence. So Arij is very intelligent. No, Arij is very intelligent. She received an excellent results in her exams. And here are how we change the words again. All right. Osama lost his home and all of his possessions in a hurricane. As a person, Naim is unselfish. Why? He thinks of others more than himself. 3. When the ambulance arrived, the motorcyclist was unconscious but still alive. 4. The courageous young man saved the boy from drowning in a lake. And finally, Arij is very intelligent. She's very smart. She received excellent results on her exam. All right, let's remember, what did we do today? What did we learn today? For the first objective, we talked about the simple past interrupted by the past progressive. And we said that most of the time, the simple past happens first. Okay, I traveled by the bus this morning, so this is over. Something happened in the past and it's over. During this time, the past progressive comes here and interrupts the simple past. So when we have a tense interrupting the simple past, we always use past progressive, and we say, I was waiting at the bus stop. So you did something in the past, and you try to remember when you did this something in the past, something was happening. Okay? And this is how we use the past progressive. And most of the time, you use the past progressive when you have words like as soon as, while, when. So when you see them, you use the symbol, the past progressive or the past continuous. And also we had some use of suffixes and prefixes, how we change the words also from noun into adjective, or adjective adverb, or adverb verb, and so on. Like the words possess is a verb, we change it into possessions as a noun. The word selfish is an adjective, we had it into an opposite, which is unselfish. Conscious is the same, also it's an adjective, we change it into unconscious, which is the opposite. Courage is a noun, and the adjective we change from noun, courage, into adjective, courageous. And finally, intelligence is a noun, and the adjective is intelligent. And finally, these are the references and the resources. You can just check them for extra activity. And for more information and lesson, you can visit us on the web page, which is ain.edu.com. And you can follow us on Twitter, and you can call us for 24/7 backup on a phone. That was all for today. Thank you all for watching. Have a nice, good day. And until I see you again, Assalamu alaikum.